right now too, so y'all can go back and watch this recording. I had trouble on the first one, but yes, great. So there's different types of way to search things. Okay. I'm gonna share. Can I stop to share my screen when I want to take it off? Okay. So I'm gonna share my screen really quick for you guys. So you better be taking notes while I'm sharing because I'm going fast. We got 2 chapters to cover. So look, get it together. I'm trying to help y'all. Okay. All right. So what is this? One participant can share at a time, or multiple participants simultaneously? That one. One at a time. Okay. So can y'all see my screen? I selected share. Let's see. I'm sorry, y'all. Zoom. I'm used to teaching in person, y'all. Okay. Oh, can y'all see?
Hey, Miss Miley, you posting the notes in Canvas, or did you already? Was those the notes?
No, they're in Canvas, but I'm sharing some other stuff right now. So I gave you some notes in Canvas already for chapters 1 through 4. I'm giving you some other stuff right now. So thank you. Is it Keylon or?
Yes.
Okay. Next in the chat box, put 5 points because you always talking, and I appreciate that. So some bonus points. There you go, midterm. Hey, maybe some more people get on board. Okay, so now with searches and seizures, he gave us a brief synopsis of what that is. There are 3 questions here. I don't want to show too many. Let me see. Okay, there are 3 questions.
Give it to him.
Y'all make sure y'all are on mute.
You better stop.
Press mute if you can. I can't unmute y'all right now. Press mute because I have the notes and everything. I can't do but one thing at a time. Okay. So these are the 3 questions here you need to know. Right? There are 3 questions that you ask in the 3-stop process for searches and seizures. Number 1, was the law enforcement action a search or seizure? Was it a search or seizure? Okay. So like you're talking about his example of law enforcement going into a house, you know, think about the Breonna Taylor thing that's going on. I'm following that heavily because I'm dealing with some police brutality cases here in Monroe. Whether you're talking about seizing somebody, like stopping them from doing something, or searching their person, or even frisking them, the first question to know is, was it actually, number 1, a search or seizure? This is on your test, okay? So when you talk about something, you have to say, okay, what are we talking about? Was it a search or seizure? You say, okay, yes, that was a search to enter someone's home, or that was a search to pat somebody down. The second question in the process is 2. If the action was a search or seizure, was it reasonable? Y'all, this right here is crucial. Reasonable. Was it reasonable? So yes, law enforcement can, in certain situations, search or seize something, but in searching them, was it reasonable? So if I stop you at a traffic stop, facts all lead to, yes, and so the facts all come down to, I'm actually searching you. This is the point where you're at, patting you down, looking for, what do you think I'm looking for? Somebody guess. What's the main thing? It's several things. What's the first
Drugs.
thing?
Weapons.
Okay. Well, now we know that they're, let's mute after y'all talk, but we know that they're all, a lot of times looking for illegal contraband and things like that. But the first thing they're usually looking for is weapons, because they're trying to see if you are a threat to them at that point. So if you have a knife, brass knuckles, or gun, something like that on you, that is what it should be. The search should be for the weapons. Okay. In the midst of looking for the weapons, you might find other things, but they're just trying to see if a threat is posed. Okay. So number 1, was it a search or seizure? Number 2, was the search or seizure reasonable? So let's say I'm searching you, and it's reasonable for me to tell you to hold your hands out, right? Conduct a general pat down of what's going on, right? But then you look at other things. Was it reasonable for me to maybe go into your shirt, or go into your pants, or throw you on the ground and search? That is what we're looking for. We're looking for reasonable. Because they say, well, I can search and seize a person. Yes, but was it reasonable? So we have to look at the circumstances. Number 3, and I'm going quickly, that's why I'm sharing the screen. This is the third thing. If the search or seizure was unreasonable, meaning they used unnecessary force or they went beyond what was called in that circumstance, if it was unreasonable, does the Fourth Amendment ban the use of the evidence? So I heard somebody say sometimes these law enforcement officers are looking for drugs, right? And illegal evidence, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say in the midst of doing the search, looking for the weapons, we determine it's a search, one. Number two, we look at it and we see, okay, it was a search, but was it reasonable? So let's say in the midst of searching this person, I just punch them in the face. They're not resisting. They're not doing any of that. I just punch them in the face, tase them, right? And start going through their pockets. So we know it was a search, but in that instance, if that person wasn't resisting, was that reasonable?
No.
No, it was not. So because it was unreasonable, it's number three, now third prong. If I find marijuana, right, or some type of drug paraphernalia in their pocket, that evidence we're talking about, does the Fourth Amendment ban the use of that?
It depends.
Why do you say that?
It would actually depend because you would have to have that reasonable suspicion, but at the same time, because reasonable suspicion is what's going to allow you to determine if that person was a threat to you as an officer, society, and what their motives were. But considering it's just marijuana, it's not a weapon. He wasn't about to, let's say, for instance, it would have been different if you would have found a knife. You know, if the guy had a knife and he was standing and him and his wife had an argument. Okay. So at that point, then you can say, well, reasonable suspicion, with my reasonable suspicion, I noticed that he was acting strange and I feared that he was going to take action against his wife because of the incident that they had earlier. And he was obviously, he was disgruntled when I spoke to him. So he was a threat to society. He was a threat to himself and he was a threat to me. So that's the reason why it got to this point.
That is true. So that happens sometimes it doesn't. That's why we say it depends. Remember we talked about our scale? On the left side, we had the individual. On the right side, we had the government. And I said a lot of stuff falls in the middle. The government has a right to follow the proper procedure. That's why we have criminal procedure and evidence to go through all the steps necessarily. But sometimes they overstep their boundaries. And you have individuals, right? We have a right to privacy, liberty, autonomy. Hey, word from last time. But sometimes we overstep our boundaries. And then here we are in the middle, gray area. So that is why everything in this class is not cut and dry, black and white answer. Is what Mr. Keelan said a lot of times. It depends. Depends on the circumstance. I don't, So that's what we're doing in this class. I'm not looking for a correct answer. I'm looking for that analysis. Remember, y'all remember IRAC? Issue. Rules, like the law. A was the
analysis.
That is the bread and butter, right?
And conclusion.
And C was the conclusion. What did the course say? What do I care about the most? Analysis.
The analysis.
Break it, yes, when you break it all the way down. Okay, that's on your test. So we went through the 3 steps of determining the 3-stop process. I would like to interject there when we talk about reasonable suspicion and probable cause. You got reasonable suspicion and you got probable cause. They're 2 different things, right? You need to know this for your life. With reasonable suspicion, that's when, is it reasonable for me to suspect that there may be criminal activity conjuring or coming about, right? Then you have probable cause when more likely than not, something went on. Now, with probable cause, it's not always you're guilty and you did it, but that's why for warrants, do you need reasonable suspicion or do you need probable cause? Somebody besides Keelan.
Probable cause. Probable cause.
Why? Why? The burden is heavier because when you talk about probable cause, you talk about sometimes searching somebody's home. You're talking about searching even their car. Okay? So it's different. Yeah, it's different things that come along with it, but probable cause is a higher burden. Now, it usually starts with reasonable suspicion and heightens up to probable cause. Do you think an arrest, do you need a reasonable suspicion or probable cause?
You know, you want me? I'm sorry.
Not you, no, somebody else.
Probable cause.
Why? Who is that? I can't.
Fee.
Okay, yeah. Okay, Fee, when y'all answer questions, say your name, Fee. Okay. So why do you say probable cause for an arrest?
Because you can't use, like, you could be suspicious, but you can't just be, you got to have proof. You get what I'm saying?
Like the evidence, what we're talking about is a higher burden because you're talking about detaining somebody. It's two things we talk about, your privacy and your liberty. Remember, liberty is, am I free to go? Privacy is, you know, what I can do in my personal space in my time. So you're restraining or constraining my liberty at that time. So you need something more than reasonable suspicion. Now, if a police officer or law enforcement comes over to speak to you and ask you questions, do you think they need reasonable suspicion or probable cause?
Reasonable suspicion.
Reasonable
Suspicion.
Right, because that does not, is the burden is not as high. I'm just inquiring as to what could have happened in something. So I can come and ask you what's your name or, you know, who are you, this and that. But when I talk about restraining you or taking away your liberty, and you know, that's why I tell people to ask all the time when you're talking to an officer, ask the question, am I free to leave? That tells you if they have probable cause. And that tells you how serious this stop is, this traffic stop is, or this encounter with the officer is. You can ask that question nicely. Hey, officer, you know, am I free to leave? Because sometimes they'll question you just because they can. It's on you if you give consent. Consent is an exception. So if an officer comes to you and stops you and asks to search your car or knocks on your door and asks to search your house and you say yes, none of that other stuff matters. None of it. Mm-hmm. Because you provided the exception, the consent. Now, if you don't have consent, you might need a warrant. You're trying to come in my house. That's different. You need a warrant. And it has to go back to what Keelan says. Not only do you need a warrant, look at that warrant. What does this warrant say you are coming to look for? Who does this warrant say you're looking for? It might be two Jane Addams, but one might be Caucasian, one might be Hispanic.
What's the address?
What's perfect? What is the address? Where are you looking for? You know, was this person 6 feet tall or 4 feet tall? These are the things that happen. Y'all really need to really look into this, Brianna.
I would like to chime in on that. For the people that don't know, if an officer, you know, detains you, and which there's a difference between being detained and being arrested, because they can detain you for up to 24 hours. But if they detain you and they ask you to remove the items out of your pocket, you're actually consenting to a search. I don't know if anybody knows that. Once you voluntarily go in your pocket and pull everything out, anything that they find can be used against you at that point because you did it voluntarily, especially if you were detained. So just remember, there are two differences between being detained and being arrested. Because once you are arrested, you are under that officer's care. You're their responsibility. So anything happens to you, they're liable at that point. They're taking control and care of you. And detaining means that they can just hold you for a period of time, but you're not legally arrested.
Right. So it's two different levels to that. Now, in both of them, they may be restricting your liberty and what you can and can't do or whatever. But at the same time, once you're in custody and booked at that point, they pretty much have you, and you better have had some probable cause. Not reasonable suspicion, probable cause. I'm highlighting a few things right here, y'all. I wish I had a lot of time to go into this so we could talk about these issues going on. All right. Not all information. Okay. Normally when law enforcement interacts with you, much of what they gather comes from here, what they can see and what they hear. So what I immediately am putting my eyes on and what I'm hearing. If I'm hearing people cursing each other out, doing that, a reasonable person might believe that there's some type of argument or something going on. So if I'm hearing that, let's say I'm driving up the street and I don't know what's going on and I hear it. Okay, there may be some criminal activity or something going on to give rise to where a crime is being broken, right? Even if it's disturbing the peace, okay? But when I see it, I can put together what I see and what I hear where, okay, they walking up on each other, you know, a fight may be about to occur. So usually much of what the police gathers comes from what they see and what they hear. Now, not everything that's gathered comes from ordinary senses. Some things comes from reluctant sources. So in other words, the police, our law enforcement does not have all the power. They have a lot, they have power, but not all of it. Meaning I don't see and hear everything. Meaning I get a call to the station. I hear something going on next door. Sound like they're having a domestic situation going on. So it can come from these 4 people. Write this down. It can come from a criminal, meaning somebody who committed a crime and they feel like, you know, they get to plead to a lesser crime or whatever, a lesser degree of a crime if I snitch or inform them on something else, right? So you can get information from sources like criminals. Number 1, it's on your test. Number 2, from suspects. A suspect is not a criminal. There are levels to this thing, y'all. Levels to it, right? So I can be a suspect, meaning I could get, you know, there could be information to where they could believe I could be a part of a crime versus when I'm a criminal, I'm already convicted. You know I did it. Okay? So criminals, suspects, victims, right? The person for whom the crime was committed against. They can give you information. And lastly, witnesses, right? Someone who had no dealings in it, but they viewed it, they saw it, they heard something. So I'm giving you information. These are the four sources for which officers can get information outside of themselves, their ordinary senses, all right? Next, so we went through the 3 steps of the process, right? We went through that. Bam, hit it, right? Then we came down to the 4 sources outside of the ordinary senses of the officers. Okay, listen, then we got certain searches and seizures called special needs searches and seizures, right? They're put in place to protect officers from armed suspects like somebody else who you don't have a weapon, but somebody else got a weapon. Prevent drunk driving, right? Protect the property of detained suspects, right? All this other stuff. Okay, I'm not going too deep in that on your exam. I just want you to know there are different types of searches. We got to move on. 4th Amendment. Again, you need to know that the 4th Amendment, bam, right there. Understand that the 4th Amendment bans only unreasonable searches and seizures made by law enforcement in order to balance the government's power. So I got the individual over here, that's us. I have law enforcement over here. We got a scale. We still fighting, battling. Who right, who wrong? What's going on? Then we have your Holy Bible, if you're a Christian, which is a criminal procedure evidence text that y'all better have because y'all got a test next week, okay? So we have all of that. And this is our checks and balances that tells us it has all the amendments in here, such as the 4th Amendment. We talk about searches and seizures. That's telling who over here, the government, what you can and can't do. Right? You have a duty to balance it out, to protect, to look at the overall security and the safety of everyone else. But you can't go in big boying everybody just because you can. I mean, you do your job, but you don't just run everything. You have to still observe the citizens' liberty and our privacy. So, okay, government, yes, I want you to do these things. I want you to protect us from terrorists. I want you to make sure that we are safe. And if my cousin gets shot, you know, that person will be convicted. You know, I want to believe in the justice system on this hand. But at the same time, I don't need you overstepping into my liberty and my privacy in the means of doing so. So, yes, do that, but do not treat me as though I'm not human in the process. Even if I am guilty of something, I'm still human. We are all the same, equal, treated equal. Okay? That goes into the 14th Amendment. We'll talk about that later. All right? So that is why we have this balancing. That's on your test, their definition. It's in chapter 1, I think. Balancing. All right? But balancing, mute your phones, your information. Balancing is securing public safety for the whole community. So I'm watching out for the safety of everybody while protecting the liberty and privacy of each individual. And remember last class, we talked about autonomy. What was autonomy? Somebody besides Keelan. Y'all better remember what autonomy.
Isn't it like personal freedom and privacy?
Yes, who said that?
Adrian Turner.
Yes, that's what it is. So autonomy is your personal freedom, right? Your ability to do things. And we compared last class. Do you want full autonomy? I mean, I can do what I want to do when I want to do it. I don't want the government telling me anything. All right. And then we talked about total power in the government. And then you like, well, then the government telling me I can't have but 2 kids. Government telling me what time I got to use the bathroom. Right. And we said, nope, there should be balancing. Whereas we have what you call limited autonomy. That was what y'all argued and said, because, hey, I want to be protected from the real criminals out there, and I want us to have a justice system, right, so that they have their day in court, but I don't want you telling me who I can talk to and when I can talk to them, right? So autonomy is on your exam. Next, we got to move, y'all. Let's see. But again, this is recorded, so I'm the best professor there is. I'm telling y'all. All right, we talked about searching constitutionally protected areas. I'm highlighting it here. These areas are your person, meaning my body. That's constitutionally protected. Remember, I'm telling y'all how to speak their lingo in here. All right, it's a constitutionally protected area, my person, right? They search me, they search my person, okay? Number 2, my house is what it is, where you stay. Whether it's a trailer, whether it's an apartment, whether it's your home. It gets a little tricky when y'all on campus talking about dormitories. We'll talk about that later, all right? Because it's a government entity. It gets a little deep, right? But number 3 is my papers, right? I got my work bag right here, right? Right here. So just because you're an officer and I walk out there, hey, ma'am, let me check your bag. You asking for my consent? No. Do you have probable cause? Not reasonable suspicion. You need probable cause to check my bag, because that is a constitutionally protected area. My papers, right? Somebody not muted, okay? My effects, right? My book bag, my an effect could even be, it's a person, but like if my child on my hip, anything, it's an extension of me. Okay, my car, right? Next. I want y'all to read this case right here. Cats v. U.S.
Too long.
Somebody press mute. Okay, y'all press mute. Cats v. U.S., all right? They talked about, did this person have an expectation of privacy in there? It's a reasonable expectation of privacy. They're talking about your privacy. Did you have an expectation of privacy? In this society prepared to recognize that is reasonable? Okay, because y'all, we have arguments all the time. That's why I read this case. I don't have time to go through all of that. Okay. I don't have time. But I messed something up. Okay. The 2-prong test. If it's on the test, it'll just say, what's the 2-prong test from Cats v. U.S.? Wham, bam. There you go. Okay. But you're talking about your expectation of privacy. All right. Let's run through this real quick. Yes or no? Do I have an expectation of privacy in my house?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Do I have an expectation of privacy in my car?
Yes.
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 Do I have an expectation of privacy at the police station?
No.
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 Why?
You're in the bathroom, you.
Why? Because it's not a private place.
Yeah.
Okay, that's both people who answered that. Y'all are right. If I'm in the open part, like the lobby or something like that, I'm not in a private place, right? No expectation of privacy. But somebody says, you go to the bathroom. See, that is what a good lawyer does. Y'all take it. This is amazing. Who said that?
Daphne.
Kathy? Daphne. Hey, Daphne. That's excellent. That's how you break things down, right? Because it's never like a black or white, let me go deep into this thing, right? Okay. So that's the same thing like if it's a library. If it's a governmental owned entity, no, like even if you're outside or on the sidewalk or something, that's different. Okay. But there are some places where I have a reasonable expectation of privacy. Y'all getting this lingo tonight. Y'all getting it. And again, you have to look at this. Was the officer in a place where he or she has a legal right to be? So even if, right, you may find something on me, was that officer in a place that he or she has a legal right to be? All this stuff comes into place when we talk about searches, y'all. It's really deeper than what we think or what's on the onsite. You have to really dig into this stuff, okay? I really need 2 class periods for this, but y'all can read, and I'm gonna give y'all the notes. So, assumption of the risk. Let's talk about the third party doctrine, because this one right here, this is what gets y'all in trouble. Right? You get, let's say, Daphne and Keelan, because that's y'all on the screen. I can see y'all right here. Or dating. Okay? So Daphne and Keelan are dating, and Daphne tells Keelan, I stole $500 from Casey Delmore. Okay, that's my best friend, but I stole it. But I told Keelan that I stole it. Okay? And Keelan, they wasn't going to, but Keelan going to snitch because he was like, no, we together, but this is what she do. She going to have to stop. So Keelan going to snitch. He going to tell it, you know, let's say, I don't know, he going to snitch and tell. So Daphne get in trouble. So police come question Daphne about how she took money from her friend Casey. $500. All right. So Daphne says, no, no, because it doesn't matter. I'm not dating him no more, whatever. I have a reasonable expectation over what I told Keelan because that was my man. Do y'all think she really had a reasonable expectation of privacy over what Keelan told him?
No.
No.
If you say no,
Well,
why?
at that point, were we dating or not?
We
I
were.
was dating.
I don't
You should
know.
not have been
It
telling
might
me
not
this.
do it matter.
No, I'm saying because see, if we were involved at that point in time, then yes, she does have a reasonable expectation because it was confidential between her and I, and in which in turn that's just like a wife can't be prosecuted or made to testify against her
But
husband.
you just threw 3 different issues in there. That's your wife or that's your girl?
But I'm just saying that's why I'm asking.
No.
That's why I'm
Y'all
asking.
go together. Y'all not married. You know. You're not
Yeah,
married.
I trusted him.
So funny.
I mean,
You trusted
because we
him.
worked together and I trusted him. So I did have a reasonable expectation that he would be keeping that private.
Yeah,
Just
confidential.
because we broke up don't mean he gonna tell him.
So the officer can't use that against you, Daphne, because that's your man and y'all go together?
You have to be married for the officer not to be able to use that against them, like in court or
That's
something
true.
like that.
When marriage coming, that's why I said he was throwing a whole nother monkey wrench in my situation. Let's stick to y'all just go.
Sorry.
Y'all just go together, okay? So, yes, even Keelan, if you felt that way, you snitched. So I don't know why you talking. But Daphne, you, even though you felt like they y'all was together, whether y'all broke up or not, you told him. And they call that under even the false friends, like, he wasn't even real, man. He was, play me, so false friends. Guess what? Damn, third party doctrine. You know what that means? You assume the risk. Because regardless of whether you took Casey money or not, you shouldn't have told. You don't have, even though you trusted him and he's been there for you, there are times of weakness and everything that's going on. You assume the risk. If it's your best friend, if it's your mama, I'm not gonna say husband, anybody else, do y'all know that's the number one way people get caught with stuff? Somebody go and tell and be anonymous, calling in, getting money and stuff. That'd be the main way.
That's why you do it by yourself.
Yeah, look. But that's why we say this doctor.
Just don't do it.
You right. Don't do it in the beginning. You should have took $500. That's your friend anyway.
A1D.
So this is the third party doctrine. I know I'm laughing and having fun. I'm trying to explain it to y'all. So that's the false friends under the assumption of a risk. B, companies who provide essential services. You assume the risk. So in companies, situations like this, you just have to keep your mouth closed. I'm just gonna tell y'all right now. That's just like even if you work for a company, right? Let's say you work for a call center or something, and y'all can be pinging people and talking to people and texting them or whatever, or using their email, and you say, that's my email. I have a reasonable expectation of my email, but you on the company clock. Assumption of the risk. 3, internet and social networks. This is my Facebook. You can't tell me who I'm gonna like on my Facebook. You cannot tell me what I'm gonna do on my face. This is my status. Y'all, social media getting everybody in trouble. Once you post that status out there, yeah, that's your Facebook page, that's whatever, but you put it out there for everybody. So anybody can screenshot it, anybody can get in it. You assume the risk. No, you don't have reasonable expectation of privacy. Third party doctrine, you assume the risk. Y'all got it?
Yeah, man.
Wow. Oh, y'all, let's talk about trash. I love this example. This ain't on the paper, but I love this right here. So let's say you got garbage. Okay, I need to hurry up. Let's say you got garbage, right? Trash, everything going on. You throw the trash away in your house. Do you have a reasonable expectation of the trash that's in your house and your garbage can?
Once it go out the door, it's
Listen,
public.
stop. Y'all doing this. Stop right there.
Inside the house, yes.
Just while it's in your house. Yes? Yeah.
Yes. Inside the house.
Yes. Yes, while it's in your house, yes.
What about if I throw it in the trash and I put it?
It's free game.
No.
I ain't finished. Okay? I put it on the porch.
Yes.
That's still kind of private.
That's still private.
It's still on private
That's your
property.
porch.
It's on your property.
Good job. Okay.
on
What if I
private
drag it out and put it in the yard?
It's still
It's
on
still
private
your
property.
It's just your property.
Until
Yeah, good job. But
until it hit the curb.
who said that? Who said it?
Michael Ballard.
Michael Ballard. You nailed it. There you go. You know what? Put 5 points, and I think you must read the chapter because that's specifically.
Oh no, I watch. I be reading books and you know looking into stuff like that.
There you go. You better write 5 points in that chapter. Forget.
Thank you for that.
They call it when it's out of the curtilage of your home, the curtilage of your home, meaning on the curb out there. That's why you see a lot of officers checking trash cans because you don't have reasonable expectation of privacy. It's your trash, but it's like public property at that point. When you pull it out to that curb or whatever, I'm not depending on how your house is, you know, wherever you stay is made. But if it's in your yard, on your porch, in your house alike, you have reasonable expectation of privacy. If I text Daphne a text message, this is my phone. I have a reasonable expectation of my own cell phone, right? This is constitutionally protected, right? So, but when I send this text to Daphne, that text I sent is my text, but it is not constitutionally protected. It went to her. So it's the same thing in the situation with Daphne Keelan. She can screenshot and go tell the police and do whatever. Assumption of the risk. Y'all better know. Now, these are the notes that I put in y'all, because I got to go to chapter 4. Y'all try to hit it and quit it real quick. But I gave you these notes here. This is, I put it on Canvas. And it's a general overview, but I kind of went deeper into this. I want y'all, if you don't read any other cases here, I want you to read all the cases. I want you to read Katz v. US, okay? This will be the only one I ask a question about. And I may ask something like, what's a two-prong test? And then you talk about these 2 questions, all right? Let's go on. I'm proud of y'all. Good job. Some of y'all just sitting on here. I see you. I'm gonna say something. You show your face and smile or something. All right, let's go to something else. I didn't save my the screen for I didn't share. I wanted to share chapter 4 in here. Oh, I got it on my downloads. Anyway, chapter 4, if you're with me. Chapter 4, we talked about stop and frisk. Chapter 3 was about searches and seizures. Chapter 4 is about stop and frisk. I'm trying to see if I can pull it up real quick. Chapter 4. Give me 1 second. Y'all can't see my screen, can you? Mm-hmm. Good. All right, I'll take a little quick break. I'm going to pull it up real quick in my email and stuff. But yeah, we got a pretty good understanding of, all right, I got it. Chapter 3. This is the best we can do under the circumstances. I'm telling y'all, my class is really fun normally. We can't even do all that on here. We're doing the best we can. And I be trying to, I know y'all work and do all that because I don't feel like having Zooms every week either. So we just get on here when we have them. Can you turn the air on? I'm hot. Thank you. Chapter 4, I'm going to pull up. I gave you the notes. So make sure y'all pull up in Canvas and look at it. I'm gonna get some of y'all gonna log on. So many people logged off when they see it prison. You know, I'm already knowing. That's cool. But I stop. I'm just gonna take a picture of this. Take a picture because I be forgetting who. And what I might do, since I gave y'all credit, those of y'all who were on the list, and I gave you credit for coming because that was my bad. I had emergency come up. I might let this Zoom service like a free credit day. Like if you missed another class or something, I might do something like that because y'all got on. Because I'm gonna record this for everybody because I still want everybody to win. But I gotta do something for y'all. Y'all got on. Okay. Y'all almost there, y'all. Chapter 4 is easy to understand. So let's do this here. Chapter 4 is about stops and frisks. All right. I am sharing my screen. Can you see? Okay. We're loading here. Let's see what's we got going on. Okay. We still going to do? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm hungry. I'm gonna get through quickly. Fourth Amendment. We're still in the Fourth Amendment, and remember we talked about seizures and searches in chapter 3. This chapter we go deeper into discussing stops and frisks. Okay? The Fourth Amendment stops, under the Fourth Amendment, stops are seizures. So I know it's a lot of terms, but you need to know. So you have searches and you have seizures. Seizures are like, think about somebody seizing you or stopping you. So stops fall under a seizure, okay? And it allows officers to briefly free suspicious people in situations to possibly investigate. You need to know that. Stops are different. Stops are a type of seizure. And the reason why it's called a stop is because you can briefly freeze them. Do you think you need reasonable suspicion or probable cause based on what I just said?
Reasonable suspicion.
Yes, key word, briefly. When you start talking about having them in custody, arrested, or being arrested, there's usually a longer period of time. So that is why that would be probable cause. Same questions, y'all. Look, we on the Fourth Amendment. All right. Now we're talking about the same questions arise. Okay, no, this is different. I'm sorry. There are 2 requirements to seeing. Remember we talked about was that search or seizure reasonable? Right? And if it was reasonable, if I found something on them, could I use that? All right. So now we're talking about there's 2 requirements you have to look at. Reasonableness. Let me highlight this. When y'all talking about search or seizure, you want to impress somebody, you say, we have to look at the reasonableness of this. Look at the reasonableness. Okay. Under the reasonableness, it's all about what's reasonable. So a cop stopping you, it might not be reasonable for them to tase you. Maybe they could tackle you, or maybe you can do something. It may not be reasonable for them to immediately shoot you. That is why, specifically in police brutality cases and other things, when we talk about overstepping boundaries, you have to look at reasonableness. Y'all better know that. It is on your test. 2 questions, 2 requirements. Number 1, was the need to search or seize must outweigh your individual liberty or privacy. So you can say, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Take me to custody. You're in my personal space. You're trying to restrain me. So the need for me to arrest you, right, or seize you, it had to outweigh what you got going on. That's number 1. Number 2, there must be enough facts right here. There must be enough facts and circumstances to back up the search and seizure. So it's not enough for you to say, I had probable cause, I arrested them, period. No, you need some facts and circumstances that have to back up. That is all evidence is. Evidence is the backup, right?
Right.
How I'm backing up what I did. There you go. Yes, reasonable suspicion is the objective basis of Fourth Amendment, right? Whenever we talk about a stop and a frisk, that's what that is. So again, a stop is a type of what? Search or seizure? Which one?
Search.
Stop.
Stop is a type of seizure.
It's a type of seizure. It's a brief seizure, like I'm briefly freezing you to see what's going on, right? Then we go to frisk. You think that's a type of search or seizure?
Search.
Search. So a frisk is just like a quick little pat down. It's not an extensive search. It's a type of it. Good job. So again, we're in chapter 4, stop and frisk. These only require what?
Reasonable suspicion.
Because we're talking about something that occurs briefly. Know that, ladies and gentlemen, is brief. So I don't have to have probable cause. All right. We'll look at the bright line rules in there. Okay. I don't have time. I'm going to go over what y'all need to know. Okay, we're not going to talk about what happened in 1960. No. All right. Fourth Amendment frisk, you want to know the definition of it, are once over, once, not several, all that. Once over lightly pat downs of your outer clothing, right? And that's to protect the officers because they're looking for weapons. Once over lightly pats. That is what a frisk is. A stop. Skipped it. Brief detentions. Remember, I'm teaching y'all the lingo. It's a brief detention that allows law enforcement officers to freeze you briefly. That means you're detaining me briefly. That's kind of what Keelan was talking about earlier. It's different than actually being arrested. Okay? Okay, let's go quickly, y'all. We got 9 minutes. But in this case, I want y'all to read Terry v. Ohio. That's your assignment. It's supposed to be due today. It's due tomorrow.
I don't want to do that.
Terry v. Ohio is due by midnight. Talks about stops and frisks. This is one of the most important cases that you will ever read when you talk about stops and frisks. Read that case. It's in your chapter, right? This is the information you need to be getting out of that, okay? We're going to go out into it. But we talked about, a full search is not the same thing as a frisk. A full seizure is not the same thing as a stop, okay? I gave y'all these notes at the bottom down here. I'm not going to look at that, but I do want you to look at this. High crime area is an area that's known for drug trafficking, right? Y'all know about that, right? Everybody, you got a place back home where it's the high crime and you know where they go. There's a lot of drugs and stuff going down. So there are some things the officers may get away with. There are loopholes because it's a high crime area that they normally can't do for a stop and frisk. They'll have more power or authority because it's a high crime area. And they're saying that their objective is for the safety of the whole. Usually if it's a high drug trafficking area, a lot of times you can equate that with crime, weapons, and killing. So the burden is a little higher. They can get a little bit higher than what they can on reasonable suspicion there than they can on Gramblin's campus. Okay. What y'all think about this? Just your answer. Should drones, y'all know the drones that they put up in the sky to look at, should they be used to police high crime areas, like a high crime area, like the bad neighborhoods? Should they use those to police high crime areas? What y'all think?
No.
I feel like it would be helpful.
Who said that?
Tamara.
Tamara, why would it be helpful?
Because maybe things that police officer can't see when roaming the streets, the drone could see.
Okay. Anybody think differently?
I do. I feel like it'll kind of get into their privacy area.
Why?
Because it'll see things that it ain't necessarily aiming to see, and you'll see. I mean, it could be little certain stuff that goes on that they wasn't really specifically looking for. Now that they notice it, now somebody could be a target per se, or it could get them to talk to the police chief or whoever is over the drone team, however they set it up, to start looking at other things besides that due to the high crime area that it's in. I
think both of y'all got a point. Ding, ding, ding. Gray area. Here we go. Individuals. I'm just trying to break it down for individuals, your Your right to liberty and privacy versus the government trying to secure the whole. Bam, we in the middle. Right. Answer, it depends. But what y'all just gave me was that analysis, and I like that. So I'm not going to say who right or who wrong. I just like it all. Okay.
That deserve another 5 points.
Look, just saying. I just remember you because y'all was doing all that last time. Y'all deserve it because you did good on the last see, I be remembering. Look at this. A lawful frisk has 3 elements. Number 1, a lawful stop, meaning you can't just stop me to stop me. It was lawful. It was a reason. Traffic, swerving, improper turn lanes, whatever, right? A lawful stop. Number 2, this is what's supposed to happen, y'all. This don't always happen. This is what's supposed to happen. All right. Again, going back to our playbook, if you're a coach, right? Criminal procedure and evidence. All right. Number 2, it's going to have to be lawful, so we have balance. 2, reasonable suspicion that a suspect is armed or dangerous, or there's criminal activity. 3, the search is limited, right? A lawful frisk is limited to a once-over pat-down. You don't be going all in my pockets. You should. I'm playing with y'all. But yeah, that's really how it goes. You just got me laughing. Somebody just said in the pink shirt. She had me busting up. Okay, so that's there. I'm almost done, y'all, I promise. Now, when we are at a frisk, this is when it can turn into a search. Bam, right here. Look at this. It's good, y'all. Some frisks need to go further than just a once-over light pat down. Let's say I do that and I feel a hard object inside of a coat pocket or in a regular pocket, and I think it could be a weapon. All right, it just got serious. We just went from a frisk to a search, from reasonable suspicion to probable cause real quick. That's why you do the frisk. Oh, there might be a weapon. It could be a phone charger, or it might have been a gun. I don't know, but it gives me a reason to take my search to another level. What now is not just a frisk; it's a search. 2, B, encountering unusually bulky winter clothing may require feeling underneath outer clothing. Yeah, they be saying it like, it was really bulky. It depends. Okay. 3, C, suspecting the contents of a closed handbag may be illegal, can justify opening the handbag. So if it's reasonable suspicion, it looked like there was a hand-to-hand transaction going on, right? And I know I told y'all my bag, it's probably because I should be going through my bag, okay? But let's say those other circumstances, it depends, came into play. Now, because of that, that may give rise to being able to search a closed handbag because of what just happened, right? Previously to that, okay? Or if I do a light frisk, once over light pattern, all right? And contraband like drugs or something is found, that can be seized, right? That can be seized if I did the briefs, okay? Now, no. But I have to think that, it has to be a light pedal, not going out doing the most. So keep that in mind. So for this chapter, last chapter I told y'all to know Cass v. U.S. This chapter, I want y'all to know Terry v. Ohio. It is due by midnight tomorrow. I want y'all to know that case because that is good. That may be one of your cases that you can argue for your second grade. We're gonna talk some more before I let y'all do that. We can't present. I normally let y'all argue back and forth, but I may let y'all do it on Zoom. I don't know. Let y'all get on at different times. I'm gonna put you in groups and you have to dress up like a lawyer and argue your case. Terry v. Ohio is one of those ones. Okay?
Miss Miley?
Yes, love.
For chapter 4, it's not like it's in there as like notes. It's not really a submission. So I was just wondering, could you fix that tonight just in case? Yeah.
Yes, I think Keelan and somebody else talking about it.
I emailed you. I was trying to submit it.
Okay.
The case briefing and there's no submission box.
Okay. So I'm gonna fix that. I did something wrong, but you do got to midnight tomorrow. So just go ahead and work on it. I'm gonna fix it tonight when I get home. Oh, y'all, look at this, some good definitions. All right, look. I'm tired of talking, but I think it was beneficial. I think we did real good. But I'm gonna type your exam up. 2 minutes. See, like I said, real quick.
Multiple choice.
All of it's multiple choice. It might be some true or false in a bonus, but it's all multiple choice because I don't have time. I want y'all to get done. And it's only 25. I'm going to give y'all some bonus questions.
Okay.
The A, we got like 1 minute. The A in IRAC stands for what?
Analysis.
Analysis. All right. Know what equal justice is. I'm reading y'all test. Know the definition of balancing. I'm just going till we cut off. We're finna cut off. The 2 types of evidence is legal and empirical evidence. Know the definition of autonomy. A prior decision that is binding on a present case is called precedent. Precedent. Appellate court overturns a decision that's called, back up, reverse. Thank you. We talked that a lot. All right. If they uphold or agree with the lower court decision. Affirm. God, come on, y'all. All right. The person who's appealing the decision, is that the appellee or appellant?
Appellant.
Appellee, the one that's appealing is appellee. All right. No, you right. Appellant. I'm wrong. Appellant.
Thank you.
All right. This person was wrong. Read somebody's chest. The acronym given how you brief a case is called
IRAC.
What's the definition of a citation? It identifies the source of material quoted or relied upon. Know what the fundamental fairness doctrine is. The Constitution is the highest law of the land. And the fundamental fairness doctrine is, you have to give notice of the charges against you. You can't just say you divorcing me. Baby, no. You have to do more than just tell me you divorcing me. I have to have notice of that. Then I get a attorney if I can't afford one. And then we have a hearing on it. Okay? That's for fundamental fairness. If I find some drugs, we over time. Still like 15, I don't know. Oh, y'all gonna do good on this test. Which amendment were we talking about with searches and seizures?
4th.
Oh, okay. That's all I'm doing. That's enough. Let me take a picture of this real quick so I can get the rest of these people who join. I gotta give y'all some for joining since y'all already got counted present for being in class on Monday. All right. I enjoyed y'all. Oh, some more people got on at the end. Y'all be shy. Y'all be Josie. Y'all think y'all sleep. I know good and well. When I go, y'all remember when we got on? It was 40-something first. Then we got on the 25. And now everybody on here. That's okay though. But we went over this test, most of the questions. Went over the notes. I have saved this Zoom. And I'm gonna give you the submission to that. I'm gonna post it on there, not today, because I want y'all to read. Chapters 1 through 4 is what the exam is on. I love y'all. Thank y'all for joining me this Friday. Do well, read. It's not a hard test. You'll have the book. Do well, y'all. And make sure y'all doing y'all assignments, because you don't want to make A's on these tests and you wonder why you got a C in the class because you didn't do your assignments. A lot of y'all not doing y'all assignments. I want y'all to win. Half the time, if you do them and it's long enough, I'm going to give you the points anyway. If I get on that, it'd be 2 sentences. I'm like, who y'all think? Really? Like, that's how I feel. 2 sentences. How you know I even feel like reading? I might just want to look and see if you did 150 words. Don't plagiarize, though, because if I do read it, I'm going to get you. You're going to get 0. All right. Do well. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I am here. Thank y'all for joining me. Do good on this test, y'all, okay? We went over a lot. You can't say I didn't teach you, even with Laura, Hurricane Laura and COVID. I did teach y'all something. All right, bye, y'all. I'm done playing. I'm listening. Stop. All right, we off of here. And
Professor Miley.
Yes.
You did say that this recording is going to be uploaded. We can go back and review it.
Yeah, I ain't putting it up today, though. I might put it up tomorrow. Yeah, okay. No, I'm gonna put it up. But I had trouble with the first one. I'm still trying to figure it out. I was on my laptop and I don't have enough space, so I saved this to the computer. So I'm on my iMac today.
Okay.
And I hate that because we really broke down the house example and all of that. with some of it on a test, but you need it for, just to have
Mhm.
knowledge of it. But I don't think I have that, but this one is definitely saved.
Okay.
Definitely.
Just wanted to know. I appreciate it.
Anytime. Any more questions?
Also, I emailed you my 9/11 assignment. Did you get it? Because it wasn't showing up on my Canvas, and I emailed you and said I
Oh, this
emailed
is
it to.
Fairview, Ohio?
Yes, I mean I don't know. It was the 9/11 about the terrorist attack.
That's it. That's my bad. I haven't. I'm gonna fix that, and it's not due till midnight. But I'm going to fix that or whatever. If it's not fixed by tomorrow, send me an email. I mean, I got caught up doing something else.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
No problem. Some of y'all doing excellent though. Even on your assignments, the ones I am reading, like some of y'all, like really, y'all need to like really consider like going to law school or something. Like seriously, y'all doing excellent job. Yes.
Is that why I have all T's for grades? You're not getting my assignments.
You got what?
All of my grades are T's. What is that T for?
Oh, I haven't gotten to grade yours yet. I did a lot of whoever was in section 13.342. I did most of theirs, not all, but the other. I'm teaching 3 sections. I normally don't do but 2, but I went ahead and did 3 because of COVID. But that's why I was telling y'all. I'm sorry, I'm a little delayed on that, but I literally was like giving people opportunities joining this course at the last minute. It's hard to keep up with. I just got attended straight, but this weekend I plan to have most of your grades done by next Friday. You will have all your grades, and you'll know immediately what you made on the test because you're taking it on Canvas. So you'll know there'll be no questions after next Friday where you're staying in the course. And I'm a grade, like I said, this weekend I got to do some housekeeping stuff in there. So you'll know everything by next week. But your grades up to this point, I plan to have in there by Sunday. Any more questions? Anything?
Appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
Y'all too. Do good on the test. All right.
We'll
Bye-bye.
try.
Bye.
Okay.